Most owners melt when their dog tilts their head. The ears lift, the eyes widen slightly, the whole face tips to one side in the specific expression that the entire internet has collectively decided is the cutest thing a dog does. Most owners trigger it on purpose, using the particular tone or the particular word that reliably produces it, without ever stopping to wonder what is actually happening when it occurs. It is not a performance. It is not your dog doing something adorable on purpose. It is a functional behavior with at least three distinct causes, each one revealing something specific about how her brain is working in that moment, and what she is trying to do with the information you are giving her. By the end of this, the head tilt will read differently. Not less endearing, but considerably more interesting. The first cause is auditory adjustment, and it is the most direct and mechanical of the three. Your dog's ears are not fixed instruments. They are mobile, capable of independent movement, of rotating and adjusting their orientation to optimize the reception of incoming sound. The head tilt is a recalibration. She is physically repositioning the ear canals to improve her ability to locate and process the sound source. Specifically, to triangulate your voice with greater precision by changing the angle at which the sound reaches each ear. This matters more for some sounds than others. The frequencies most relevant to speech, the specific range of the human voice, are not always cleanly received in the forward-facing position. The tilt changes the geometry. It brings one ear closer to the source and positions the other at a different angle, allowing her auditory system to layer the two inputs in a way that sharpens the localization of what she is hearing. She is not tilting because the sound confused her. She is tilting because the sound is interesting enough to warrant the extra processing effort. The head tilt is the physical signature of active, engaged listening, of an auditory system deciding that this particular sound is worth the adjustment. The second cause is visual, and it is the one that surprises most owners. Watch what her muzzle does during the tilt. In many dogs, the muzzle is a significant obstacle to full facial vision. Depending on the breed and the shape of the skull, the muzzle can obscure the lower portion of a face directly in front of her. When she tilts, the muzzle shifts out of the visual field. She can see more of your face. Specifically, she can see more of the lower half of your face, your mouth, your jaw, the region that carries the most information about speech production and emotional expression. Behavioral research into canine visual processing has found that dogs are specifically attentive to the lower half of the human face when processing emotional and communicative signals, more so than to the upper half, which is the reverse of what tends to be true in human-to-human reading. The tilt may be partly an optimization of the visual field for the specific region of your face she is most interested in reading. This is the piece most owners miss entirely. She is not just listening, she is watching your mouth, and the tilt gives her a better view of it. The third cause is the most significant for the relationship, and the one that tells you what the tilt actually means about how she has learned to process you. The head tilt is significantly more likely to occur in response to specific words than to random sounds. Researchers studying canine language processing have found that dogs who have developed associations between particular words and particular outcomes, words like walk, treat, specific names, specific commands, show elevated head tilt rates in response to those words compared to unfamiliar words at similar volumes and frequencies. She is not tilting because she heard something. She is tilting because she heard something she recognizes and is actively working to process, cross-referencing the incoming sound with the associations she has built, working to extract the meaning she knows is there. The tilt is the physical expression of cognitive effort, of a brain that is doing something with the input rather than simply receiving it. The words that produce the tilt most reliably are the words she has learned to care about, the words connected to things that matter to her, the words that carry stakes. If your voice produces the tilt, if the particular tone you use when you're talking to her specifically, rather than talking near her, reliably tips her head, her auditory system has tagged your voice as a high-value input, one worth the adjustment, one worth the extra processing effort, one that is, for her nervous system, interesting enough to warrant full attention rather than background registration. The tilt is also more common in some breeds than others, not because some dogs are more attentive than others, but because muzzle shape affects how much visual optimization the tilt provides. Flat-faced breeds have less muzzle obstruction and therefore less visual incentive to tilt. Long-muzzled breeds have more obstruction and tilt more frequently. The behavior exists in all dogs, but the visual driver is stronger where the muzzle is a bigger obstacle. Age plays a role too. Younger dogs and more socially engaged dogs tilt more frequently, in part because the auditory and visual processing of human communication is a skill that develops and deepens with exposure. The dog who has spent years listening to you has a more sophisticated map of your vocal patterns. The tilt is the tool she uses when the processing gets interesting. Most owners think the head tilt is something their dog does for them. A display, a response, an expression aimed at producing a reaction. The tilt as performance. The dog as the one generating something cute, and the owner as the appreciative audience. Flip that. The head tilt is something she does for herself. The physical adjustment of an auditory and visual system that is genuinely trying to process what you are saying with as much accuracy as it can bring to the task. It is not directed at you. It is directed at the problem of understanding you. She is working. The cuteness is incidental. The work is the point. Think about the words that produce it most reliably. The tone that tips her head most consistently. The specific register of your voice when you're talking to her in the way that she has learned means something is happening, something worth processing, something connected to something she cares about. The tilt is her nervous system saying, I know this matters. I am adjusting everything I have to make sure I do not miss it. Give me 1 second. I am getting the best possible angle on what you are telling me. She is not doing it to be endearing. She is doing it because you are saying something worth hearing. And she has decided somewhere in the depth of the specific attention she has built for your voice that you are worth the extra effort of getting it exactly right. What word or tone produces the head tilt most reliably in your dog? And has she ever tilted at something unexpected? Tell me in the comments. If this is the kind of watching you want to keep doing, subscribing means the next one finds you.